So a priest, a rabbi, and an atheist all walk into a bar and said, "Ouch." Get it? Because the bar is metal. It's a metal bar. It's probably iron. It's funny, okay? In fact, I'm guessing that's probably one of the best jokes you've ever heard. Studies have been done on the psychology of humor. Researchers have discovered that jokes like this tend to be funny because they go on a predictable progression until we're taken in a direction we didn't expect, only to have it all make sense in retrospect. If the joke teller succeeded in tricking us, well, we find this trickery pretty hilarious. And this shows that there's a difference in thinking between a joke consumer and a joke creator. You see, the joke creator employs something called lateral thinking, which happens to be another mainstay of Navy SEAL cognitive training. I couldn't help myself. You see, when it comes to problem solving, there's always a couple of ways you can approach it. Most of us use linear thinking. This uses known cycles or steps to solve the problem. As an example, here's a problem. If I have one bag of apples, and there's another bag over there, how many bags of apples do I have total? Well, this problem might be as easy as grade school arithmetic. 1 + 1 = 2, so 2 bags, right? If you said I had 2 bags of apples, you'd be wrong. You're wrong because you made at least one of 2 assumptions. Your first assumption might have been that the bag over there was filled with apples, which it wasn't. Your second assumption is that the bag over there, apples or no, belongs to me, which maybe it doesn't. If either assumption is wrong, then I only have 1 bag of apples. See what I did there? Now, you might be thinking that this is a trick question and it's unfair and it's un-American. But it only tricks linear thinking. Now, I'm not trying to say that linear thinking is bad. In fact, it's good. It helps us to streamline our way to finding an answer. And the majority of the time, it does result in an acceptable solution. But there are times when a solution can't be found in this way, or when you need a solution that is more than just acceptable. To find those kinds of solutions, you might need to employ lateral thinking, a term coined by physician Dr. Edward de Bono in 1967. Simply defined, it is the ability to think outside the box, thinking divergently and creatively in order to find solutions that aren't immediately apparent. But this kind of thing is always easier to talk about than it is to do. If we're trying to think outside the box, it would be helpful to know what the box is. Well, you see, whether consciously or subconsciously, we tend to bring certain preconceived notions or assumptions to the table when we try to solve a problem. What this does is it places confines and limits and blocks certain avenues of thought. It's almost like it places your thinking in like a box. One thing that lateral thinking does is it questions these assumptions and these notions, or behaves as if they're not there. By removing these mental roadblocks, your mind is free to find alternate routes to get to your desired destination. This effectively opens up limitless possibilities. And this can be applied to problems both small and great. As I was researching this earlier this week, I began to think about the implications of this principle if we apply it broadly. I began to identify certain assumptions that I'd made about my life and my situation that might be false. You see, it could be that the chains that hold your life in stagnation are self-imposed. So maybe you should apply for that job. Maybe you should just try out for that team. Maybe you should marry that girl. Because it could be that the limitations that you thought were there aren't. What if, as we push on the walls that enclose us, we find out that they're actually doors? I guess what I'm trying to say is maybe we should employ a little lateral thinking in our lives and see just what's possible for us. Josh, Ben, and anyone else watching, I love you. So there's 2 muffins in an oven, and one of the muffins looks at the other muffin and says, "Whew, it's getting hot in here." And then the other muffin's like, "Holy crap, a talking muffin!" Get it? It's funny because, well, muffins can't talk.